Hi everyone, this is Vikas from Networkers Home, and today I am doing a video on Cisco SD-WAN lab setup. There are 3 items required at this time. The 4th item is going to be basically covered in the next video. So in this video, I'll try to cover these items. The first is Cisco Viptela.serial file download. Next is how to set up a root CA server, and the next is going to be how to install the controllers. So for the first step, you need to install, you need to have a file, you need to set up your organization name, you also need to have a vBond IP. So your topology should be ready with you. Once you have the topology ready, the next step there is to go to software.cisco.com and apply for your license. So let's say I'll go for, I'm already on software.cisco.com. I'll just type it again so that you can see it. And then I'll basically go to, not this one, I'll go here to manage my smart account, and I'm going to put my credentials here. Okay, so I'll go back to software.central again because there are certain changes that we have. Then you have to go to manage my account, and then you go to, here is my account, all the information about me or the organization that I'm there, and anybody can create this account, so there is no special privileges which are required. And here I have a couple of accounts where I'm already running couple of labs. If you want to create a new one, you can just say go here, and I'm just going to use nhvikas.lab, something like that. I'll keep it public, no preferred end date as such. I'll say next, and the user is already assigned. I'll just say next, and I'll say create virtual account. Now you see that the new virtual account that we just created is here. It's called nhvikas lab, and the next step that we have is, again, we have to go to Cisco Central, and there is the option network plug and play. So in this, what we'll do is we are going to create a couple of more items for generating our Viptela file. The first item that we have to do is we have to create a controller profile for this particular account that we just created. But before that, on the top, I will move on to the account that I just created, the virtual account. So on the top, I have to select my virtual account, for which I'm going to create the license file, and then I'll go to the controller profile. You see the on the top nhvikas lab that is created. So I'll go to the controller profile. I'm going to add a profile here, and I need vbond, and profile name could be anything. Let's say anything is fine. Oh, it is taking everything in caps. Default profile, no. Customer premises hosted, yes. Multi-tenancy, no. Your organization name is very important. So I'm going to say networkers home dash 123 here. Okay, what's your, so this is your vbond IP, and very important stuff. So let's say 15.5, or I'll do it something private IP, etc. So here it is, right? So what's my organization name? Networkers home dash 123. You can have any name provided that is not being used by other profiles, and you can say next to it. So if everything is okay, it says no default profile name available. That's okay. I'm going to make it because so here is the information, right? This is my vbond IP, DTLS port that it's going to use. The primary protocol is going to be DTLS, because remember that vbond always use DTLS. Rest of the devices have option of DTLS and TLS here. So my organization name is this. I'll say submit here, and this is done. The next step is I need to create devices for which I need license. So what I'll do is I'll go here to devices, and rather than adding hardware devices, I will add software devices. Okay, so I'll say add software here. I'll say Vedge, And I can have total 20 devices. Here I want to have 16 devices. Choose your controller profile. I said anything in the controller profile, right? The name of the controller profile we kept is anything. So I'm choosing it here, and the next item I'm going to do is save. Okay, I can add more devices. I'm going to add 4 more devices, and this time I'm going to use CSR, the CH device, and cloud, I'll say. What is the problem? CSR 1KV, and I'll say 4 routers I need. The controller profile is anything, and I'll say save it. When these 2 things are there, just say next and just say submit. Now you have total 20 devices. Remember that here. It says your request will be processed in background and email will be sent to vikas@networkershome.com once the process is completed, and you say done with it. Once that is done, you see that all these devices are showing pending here, right? They're all showing pending here. What you can do is you can just go to controller profile, and you see that your anything is ready now. What you can do is you download this file. So provision file is what I'm going to download, and I'll say 18.3 or newer. I'll say download it. Okay, so this is the file serial file.viptela, and this file has to be used on controllers. This has 20 V edges, right? The devices here. And generally what happens is that this process will take time, somewhere like 8 hours or 10 hours, or not sure what's the process there, but generally in 8 hours I get an email from Cisco that this has been processed. But the beautiful thing is that Cisco gives you the Viptela file, serial license, everything, authorization is already available here in the controller profile. So you don't need to wait for 8 hours. Immediate basis you can start using this particular file and the licenses will work. Okay, so these are my devices. It's showing pending for publishing. That's absolutely fine. Couple of more things that I want to show here is one is your network ID, the other is certificate. So if you do not have a root CA certificate, what you can do is you can generate a CA certificate from Cisco, and this CA certificate can be basically used within your organization everywhere, right? So I think you generally require Cisco partnership or some kind of relationship with Cisco to have this. What I'm going to do in the next couple of steps is to create our local CA and to use that. So basically done with the steps up to here. What we needed is we have received it. It's in the controller profile. You go to your serial.viptela file, which we have downloaded. The next step that we want to move on to is I need to go to my devices, and here I'll go to my server. And I will install Vmanage and other controllers. I will also create the root CA. Okay guys, so we move on to the next step, which is basically installing the controllers and also setting up the root CA server. For that, I'll go to my ESXi machine, and here I will try to create a virtual machine for my Vmanage, which is also going to act as a root server. So I have OVA file for Vmanage. I'll just copy paste that here. I'm going to use second storage space because that's a lot of space I have. For these settings, I'll keep it thin. It doesn't matter. And I'll say finish. You see that the implementation is happening here. It's installing it. It should take a couple of seconds. In the meantime, what I'll do is to save some time, I'm going to install vbond, and I will also install, yeah. So vEdge image is going to be vbond because there is no dedicated image Cisco has released for this product, and then I will also have for vSmart, which has a dedicated image. So all the three controllers I'm installing. While Vmanage is getting installed, this is vSmart. I'm just going to pick up OVA file again. And here is the vSmart OVA file. I'll just say next, 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 and finish. So we are here at Vmanage, and Vmanage is installed. What I need to do is I need to make little changes only to Vmanage, and rest of the two machines are absolutely fine. So I'll just go and make one small change here. I'll add one adapter, and I'm going to add one more hard drive where all the installation needs to happen, and I'm going to use 200 GB of space and save it. Once it is saved, I'll go to VMs again. My Vbound, Vmanage, vSmart is installed. These are started, and this one I've just made a change. What are the two changes I made? I added an additional adapter, and I added a hard drive. So I'll just power on Vmanage because that is the first controller we are going to set up, and also going to make it a root CA. Let's see the big screen. The installation should take around 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, it has given me login prompt, but what happens if I try to log in? It will not allow me to log in as of now, because in the background it's actually doing a lot of processing and all that. We should wait for a couple of minutes before the things settle down, and then we should try login with admin as a default password. Now I'm going to change the password because I will be forced to change the password, and then I will. The next option it says is that you have 200 GB of storage, and I need to install some stuff. This is the reason why we installed an additional hard drive, because this is where all the software installation will happen for all your management related services, your web server, your Kafka server, your database server, your Elasticsearch server, right? Which we discussed in the previous class. What are the servers it has? So 5 server component that it has, that is getting installed right now. Once this installation completes, we can directly go and start doing our root CA process, and then we will install that certificate onto our Vmanage first, and then we will install it on other devices. But we need to do a little configuration on all devices. That's called the skinny configuration, and we'll see how to do the skinny configuration in fact. I think the installation is done and it's rebooting now. It should be back after a couple of seconds. What I'll do is I'll go here and we'll see if this was an old one. In fact, I've not given any IP, so we can't do anything, right? We have to come back here after the reboot is over, and then I have to give an IP address to it, and then I can go and do HTTPS to that. So I'll delete the previous instance I had, which is not operational anymore. I'll just go here and see. Okay, it is back. I need to do very basic configuration here. so that at least I can get an HTTP access. Again, the services are getting loaded in the background, so I can't do much of the stuff here. We'll wait for the services to come back. Remember that I was asked to change the password, so I forgot that. We have to give the new password here. Now I'll do a show run so that we can see what kind of config it has. Very basic configuration. I'm going to do, in fact, very basic stuff here. VPN 0, interface, ETH 0, IP address I'm going to give. I'll give it 1/20 and 20 and /24. I'll say no tunnel interface at this time. And that's all. That's the whole configuration I want to do. Rest I will do at the GUI. Although I do have an option to go here and say, all those things, but I can do still all the configuration at the GUI itself in Vmanage. Rest of the devices will do the skinny configuration here. So what do? I just go to the server here. Oh, I've given 20, right? 20. So I'll give 20. Let me see the IP that I've given. I think it was 20. I forgot to commit, right? Without commit, it will not save the config. So that is very important. We have to commit. When I say exit, commit. Then only that IP address thing will go on the interface, right? So here it is. We did the configuration, forgot to commit. I'll do it again. 192.168 1.20. So here it is. And the username password. Password that I have reset because the username password was admin. So this is my Vmanage. The certificate that you have is invalid at this time. So what we'll do is the first couple of things. First thing I want to do is I want to change the organization name to whatever was in the viptela.serial file that we downloaded. So it's going to be network as home 123 and network as home 123. Then the vbound IP. I need to have correct vbound IP here. 192.168.1.55 was my IP. I'll give it here. Okay, now I need to go back to the CLI. For that, I need to do SSH to our Vmanage so that I can make it a root CS server. So 192.168.1.20, that's my Vmanage server. I'll say open. Okay, so the next step that we have is to get to vshell and declare it a root CA server. So I'll create on the Linux shell, which is available in Vmanage. I'll go and give my first command to create a root CA. Public key, private key, and then I am going to basically go to create the public key. So this is the public key I'm going to create using the private key I've just created. So this is the public key. Public key is created. What is the next process? The next step, I need to install. Because remember that Vmanage also, or all the devices, needs to install this particular certificate here. You can't install it in vShell because the installation has to happen at Vmanage. So this is successfully installed. 3 steps are done. Step 1, creating a private key, creating a public key. This public key will be distributed to everybody, right? This is what everybody has to install, and then they have to get their Csr request signed by the private key, which is generated only once, right? Okay. The next step is we have to go, and we have installed this CA certificate, and I need to get this root ca.pem file. I want to install it actually. So cat, or let's say I'll do vshell ls or ls, and I have the root ca.pem. So cat root ca.pem. I'm going to copy this certificate, this one here, up to here, and I will take it to, first I will install it on our controller here. So here is the controller, enterprise root ca. Yeah, I'll just go paste it here, and I will say import and save. So it's successfully authorization completed. The next step that I want to do here on Vmanage is I want to go to certificate, controllers. I want to generate a request, CSR request. This is my CSR request. I should have another file here because I'm sitting on Vmanage, and Vmanage is also the root CS server. So vmanage.csr file is created, right? Now each CSR file needs to be signed by the root CA certificate, right? So that is the next step that we are going to do. So I will use the next command here, which is, this is my vmanage.csr. It needs to be signed by root ca.key, the public and private key. Remember that the public key I installed here, right? The public key, the private key is only with the root CA server. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we would need to do is to do this. I'm going to copy, and the Vmanage CSR file is now creating a, I'm signing it, I'm getting it signed from Vmanage root CA private keys. So once this is signed, I should have another file here, which is called vmanage.crt. Now, how do I install this certificate? Because this certificate is approved by the CA, right? So I need to, sorry, not ls, cat, right? So I'll just take this certificate. I'm going to copy this. Okay, and I'll take it where? I'm going to take it to Vmanage and install it. So first device will be complete if this process becomes successful. So first device, let's see, I'm installing it. Here it could be a failure or a success depending on our process. If we missed anything in the process, it is going to be a failure. If it is a success, which is a success here, everything else is fine. Okay, so Vmanage is successfully enrolled into our CA server as a client, right? Remember that it's a little tricky situation, guys. Okay, Vmanage server is a root CA himself and also as a client. So the CA server is a different part, which is a Linux shell. We are just utilizing the resources. It could be any Linux machine. It could be any Linux desktop or server that we can utilize. It could be also Microsoft AD. The process is going to be same. Okay. The next step we need to do is we need to go back to our other devices. So Vmanage, all the work is all done. Okay. except some little work on the CLI side, which is doing the skinny configuration. What is that skinny configuration? I'll just do some configuration here. Host name is already given. If you want to give it again, we can say vmanage. Our site ID is, let's say, 1. System IP is going to be, I'll say 1.1.1.1. Vbond IP is 192.168.1.55. Okay, and port you don't really require because port is always fixed. And let's see what else is required. We require organization name, the most important one, networkers home ABC. This is done. We say commit, make the changes, and that's all. We can also copy paste the same configuration and can use it at vbond and vsmart also. So I'll just go to other machines, virtual machine, because I'm going to enroll vbond and vsmart into this particular program of the CA certificate. So let's log in here with the default username password, admin. It will ask us to change password, but no installation of any software at this time. So that's easy. Give it a host name as vbond, lowercase, sorry, system. So I'm doing skinny configuration. Host name is going to be vbond. Okay. Host name is vbond. System ID is going to be 2.2.2.2. Site ID is also going to be 2. Organization name is going to be networkers home -123. vbond is his own IP we need to give. So vbond, and I'm going to use word local here. Local, and 192.168.1.155 is the, that's all. Commit the changes. Then we need to go to VPN 0 interface gigabit. No tunnel interface on this, but let's give it an IP first. IP address 192.168.1.155/24. No tunnel, and save the configuration. But before that, let's put a default route, because this guy is really need to go out to internet for the validation of serial.viptela file. Okay, my default gateway is my firewall, and I will also say DNS 8.8.8.8. Sorry. Once this is done, I should be all good. I'll commit the changes, and I will try to ping internet routers. I can ping that. I will also try DNS to see if it works. The DNS is also working, right? So vmanage and vbond needs to go to internet. Rest of the devices can be fine because they don't need to take part in the authentication of all the devices. Okay, they don't need to verify cisco.viptela.serial file. So vbond is done. We are now going to configure our vshell here. Okay, and I need to basically repeat the same process for it, which is first I need to copy the certificate. I need to bring this certificate. My IP has changed 155, and instead of this I'm going to use admin because I'm not using a Linux machine. So I'm going to use this. I need to have public certificate. Sorry, V shell. I'm going to copy from our, sorry, what is our Vmanage IP? My Vmanage IP is .20. Do you want to do that? Yes. Type full yes. Admin password. The file is copied. Once the file is copied, what is the next process? Next process is exactly same. Install the root CA certificate. What is that? The public certificate, the public key, right? Public key. Then we are going to get it authenticated using the private key. But first, let's install this. Install it here. Not here. We have to go out and then install it. So certificate is installed on which device? I think I made a mistake. I was not into Telnet. I should have closed this, but it doesn't change anything. I should have taken access to vBond. I did that command on root CA, but because the certificate is installed, and if I do not do anything else at this time, no changes, so that should be fine. So I'm on vBond. I'll say admin and the password is my vBond, and I'm going to repeat those two commands, and after that you will see how easy it is to do the whole thing. So again, same process that we did the mistake there. This is my command. I need to copy it from my Vmanage server. I need to repeat this same, both the commands on. I'm going to do this. Okay. Say yes. I think I gave the wrong password. Okay, file is copied, but the second command is not executed, so I'll do it manually. After exit, done. So this is successfully installed. Now what we need to do is, I will also repeat this process on first, or maybe we can do it here itself. Let's go to one by one, all the machines. So I'll go to Vmanage, and now I need to add controllers. So here is controllers. I will add vBond here. 192.168.1.155 admin, and the password here, Cisco. And you see that here, generate CSR. There is an option to generate CSR. If you don't want to do it here, that's fine. We will, once this is successfully added, which is here, right? The certificate installed is in Vmanage is good. You see that? Okay, it should be, I have to go to certificate, controllers, and vBond. I will generate a CSR manually. So that's absolutely fine. Once you have the public key from the root CA certificate and you have authenticated yourself, then you have to create the CSR request. Note before that. Okay. So this is done. Now what do? We are going to check if this file is available to us. ls. You see that vBond Csr file is here. So what do? I need to take this file to the root CA server, and there I need to get it signed by him, and then I have to bring it back here, and then only the things will work. Okay, so how do I do that? I have a couple of ways of doing this. So let's say first I'll do cat and vBond CSR. This is my certificate. I'll just go to Vmanage. That's a faster mechanism. I'll just go here. 192, 168, 1.20. I'm on Vmanage. I'll just increase the font a little bit. So I have to bring that file here. Either I can use WinSCP or I can copy it. So the copying is a good mechanism for me. I'll use this thing here. I'll copy this command. Okay. And what is the file that we want to import? File name is vbond csr here. Okay, we shall. And I'm going to replace it with this and the public IP also. So 1.150. Yeah. So that's going to be 155. I'm copying it from there. 155. I'm bringing the file from vbond to here. Let's see on here. Can I see it? Okay, you can see that I can see the file vbond dot underscore csr, right? This is the file. I need to now sign it with my private key and public key together, right? So what is the command? The command is exactly same. So instead of this, I will do vbond. And here I'll create vbond. So I'll sign it with my root CA key, the public key, right? Sorry, the public key and the private key. The private key and the public key. This is the public key. So I'll just issue that command on my vmanage, which is a root CA. Do ls. And you see that you should have vbond.crt. Now this file, I'll just copy vbond.crt. I'll copy this certificate and install it like I did for Vmanage. I'll straight away go to Vmanage and I will install this certificate for vbond also. And we'll wait for a couple of more seconds to see if there is any error or it is a success. Okay, that is also a success. So we should be able to see the devices here in certificate, that both the devices are updated, right? Installed the certificates. You got the serial numbers also, which is a good sign, which was not there before. Here we have not given a lot of details as of now. It will come later. The next item left is our vSmart device, right? So I'm going to close vbond at this time. And I will focus on the vSmart. So where do we go? We go to ESXi, we go to vSmart, and admin default password. I think I made a typing mistake. And change the password. Okay, once this is done, we'll see what kind of interfaces it has. It should have a couple of interfaces. Config T, VPN VPN 0, and I'll say interface 80 IP address 192.168.1.156. 24. No tunnel interface at this time. Okay, and that's all. I will also do a couple of skinny configuration stuff, although even if I do it later, will not impact anything. 192.168.1.155 is my vBond. Okay, organization name is Networkers Home -123. Okay, once that's done, the system IP is 3.3. Sorry, system IP 3.3.3.3. Site ID is 3. You can put them on one of the site also. That's a good way of doing it. If they are separated and at different places, you can put them into different sites also. So depending on your convenience, that's absolutely fine to put them in same site or different site. That's a design point. Now vShell. The process needs to be repeated. What was the process? The process was, but before that, adopting that process, we'll do one thing. I'm going to take SSH access of this so that you can see bigger fonts. If I do it into ESXi CLI, will not be able to see it in bigger font. Sorry, 156, right? That's our vSmart IP. Let's do that again. 192.168.1.156. It came up. So what are the two steps initially that I need to take? I need to first bring the public key and then install the public key into vSmart here. So that's the first step here. This is the first step. vShell SCP. Once this is done, I need to exit and install this certificate, right? The public certificate. Certificate is successfully installed. What do? I create a CSR file, right? I can create a CSR file here, or I can do it from Vmanage, which is a very easy process. So I'll go to Vmanage and I'm going to add another controller in the device. Add my not vBond, vSmart is left. So I'll go to vSmart and I'll say this is my vSmart. And generate a CSR. So it's generating the CSR sitting here itself. You don't need to go to certificate and then go to controllers and then generate like we did for vBond, right? We did that. So here CSR. Now if we go to vBond and I go to vShell ls, I see that this is created. A CSR request is created. Now I need to take it to root CA like previous one, right? And I need to get it validated by them and then bring it back. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go to my vmanage server and issue this command that I want to copy your file, right? Sitting here, I want to copy his vsmart underscore csr file, his username password. Okay, what's the problem? So this is done. Now the last step, both the public key and the private key needs to sign this one, right? So vsmart underscore csr needs to be signed, and the output should be vsmart.crt. So we'll sign it. We are at CA server, which is our vmanage server acting as a CA. It could be any Linux machine, as I said. Now this certificate is created. I will just do a cat and I'll just look at vsmart CRT. I'll copy this, go to vmanage and install the certificate. Remember that before that, let me show you again. vbond is installed, vmanage is installed, both are serial number. Here CSR is generated for vsmart, but no certificate installed, so the device is not yet into our network. Only when a valid certificate is installed, the device will enter into our network and will be validated to work with. If any kind of error is there, we should get the error. If there is a failure, we should get error. But if it is not, it's a success here. Okay, so all the three devices that you see here now are, all the three controllers are all good. Okay, they are in sync, they got serial numbers, they are installed, vbond updated, etc., etc. Now the next step is we need to go to all three devices. Okay, and let's go to VPN 0 interface, and we need to turn on the tunnel interface that we have set no tunnel. So VPN 0, because now once the certificate are acquired, now we'll start our DTLS tunneling. If we had certificate before this, what will happen? Right? One, you cannot have DTLS without having validated certificate. So there was no point in doing that. Now you say tunnel interface. Okay. And you say accept. That's all. And commit those changes. Commit. Go to vmanage also. vmanage also, we had a no tunnel interface. So I'll just go here. Config T vmanage, VPN 0, and I say here no. I go to interface and I say tunnel interface, right? So that was no tunnel interface. Remember that in all the devices I went and I did this. Now our certificate, our communication to all the devices will work fine. The last device to do this is vbond. So 192.168.1.155 is vbond's IP. I'll just go there and do the similar stuff. VPN 0 interface gigabit 00. Here tunnel interface. Okay, all good to here. Commit the changes. So now the DTLS tunnel should come up between these devices, and all the devices are successful up to here. You see that certificate status is installed. All the these devices are fine. No templates are assigned, and the rest of the settings also, it takes time. So this is the end of part 1 of SD-WAN lab setup. In the part 2, I'm going to cover Vedge and Cedge installation on ESXi as well as EVNG. Hope you like the video, and if you like it, kindly subscribe the channel. Thank you for watching.